So this is basically a conversation I've been wanting to have with myself, and I'm going to be reading off of scripts because I want to make sure I hit certain points because it's so crazy to me. I've known this for such a long time. Other people are simply mirrors. There's that quote that I love that goes, "I am not who I think I am. I am not who you think I am. I am who I think you think I am." Crazy. Like that used to throw me for a spiral because I used to think, for especially my soccer coaches, all they thought of me as was a soccer player. My teachers only thought of me as a student, and you could go anywhere you want with that. And so when I started unpacking that, it became crazy to me because then I started realizing, like, oh shoot, wait a minute. There's that other quote or that book about the person who realized there's literally 1,000 different versions of themselves. And the fact that the only true version is me, to myself, in my own narrative. Well, at least that's the only person that counts for my story. I am the main character. And so, the realization that came recently was the fact that other people are simply mirrors, and you get the truth with how willing you are to look deeply into them. What recently came to light for me was the fact that the breakup that shattered me, the one that it felt like I was literally collapsing internally when I saw them in person afterwards. I would get anxiety at night at times where I would just start shaking. And then all of my relationships afterwards were referenced back to this one relationship. Like, it completely shaped my view and relationship with love. And for years, I kept on coming back to the question, like, what's this mean for me? Like, of course, post breakup, initially, I blamed her for so much, for basically everything. But then I would mature and realize, okay, it wasn't her fault. It was actually me. But that wasn't enough for me. There still was such a conversation I felt to be had about how could I let somebody impact me so strongly. Like, I literally felt like she gripped me, my whole being. And also, how did I let such a situation and person impact and shape my whole relationship with love? So that was really weird, and it wasn't until recently I started to unpack it and really pinpoint what happened. Look deeper into the mirror. So, I finally realized, like, it wasn't the fact that everything came from her. She wasn't necessarily the catalyst. I always thought of her as, like, you could say, like, the storm, and everything that happened afterwards was like the Carthage, whatever, the damage done from the storm, right? And I was like rebuilding everything, building back the house, which was myself, my relationship with love and whatnot. But the thing that I realized recently, once I decided to look deeper into the mirror that she provided, I could see everything in the background, man. Everything in the background, realizing that it wasn't her. It was a culmination of everything coming together in my life. So a year before that relationship, I lost my uncle, which opened the door to existential questions and crises. I was in a transition period of going into college. I was losing the dream of soccer because I just stopped putting in the work. I'd grown up thinking I was going to be a professional athlete playing soccer. I loved it. Had an obsession of Leo Messi in 5th grade. Did all my projects around him. But come college, I'm losing that passion. I'm losing that spark. Partially due to the fact that I'm questioning everything, and partially due to the fact that soccer was my everything, literally my God. Like, I learned everything from it. Community, values, honesty, working hard, working honestly. And then when I got to college, those kind of went out the window. It was much more of like a business, and I didn't feel as if I was cared for as much as, like, say, when I was playing club soccer. So that was unraveling. And also, of course, if you didn't notice, like, I wasn't playing. Yeah, So it sucked being a bench player and not working for it, because I'd always worked to be better, even if I was the worst in the group. So that went away. And then also, I went for false pleasures. I went for false ways of success, and I wanted to be liked by everyone. I wanted to fit in, so I started drinking and smoking, went to the parties, and I was on this career path of finance, working in a corporate life I knew I didn't want, but I had done it because of the soccer, like to continue playing soccer in college. So up until recently, I had thought this person shook my whole entire world because of just her, you know, in the relationship, how it felt like such a drug-induced roller coaster. Like I literally felt like she was my drug, and I just wanted to take more and more and more of her. And then when we broke up, I was going through the withdrawals, and I really always put that on her. I put that purpose on her. And it was, you know, I'm telling you, like, I spent so many years trying to unpack the layers of the truth behind what happened. And there was this one memory. I think this is how life speaks. I think life kind of whispers a moment and like reverberates it back to you throughout the years. And for me, that one moment was when this memory of me telling her, I'm literally in her arms saying, "You're the only reason I'm happy." And I knew it literally months after the fact, and I knew it like throughout the years that was way too much to put onto her shoulders. And I totally gave her the responsibility of my life, like being happy. I gave away my power. So I knew that, but that memory kept on coming back, and it kept on coming back, and it kept on coming back. And then I was thinking recently, like, why is that coming back? Why is that so important? And then it sparked this just thought loop of just realizing I need to look closer so that I could actually see the background. Like I'm going closer into the mirror that she is, and I'm now seeing the background of that. It wasn't her, it was the moment. It was the fact that everything was converging into that season of my life. And if I could tell my younger self what I know now, I'd say it wasn't her. It wasn't that I needed her. It was that I needed grounding. I knew this, but I needed purpose. I needed to be forging my true identity, the one that was based on a real foundation, on faith. Because if I had known what I knew now, the drugs, the money, the relationship that's just for casual relationship, they're not going to fill you, and you're going to figure that out so many times over, but you're not going to admit it to yourself because you were too scared to look into the mirrors. So that was really the conversation I've been wanting to have with myself for so long, but I haven't been able to actually dig out what I was trying to get out of my mind until recently. So yeah, everyone is just a mirror for you. And you know, it can be disheartening at times. Well, it can be disheartening for me at times, thinking like people can't necessarily always directly help you, but they can always offer you a mirror. And how beautiful is that? Because it's just a matter of how brave you are to look deeper, to look closer, so that you see the whole landscape. And it's really part of this working hypothesis of mine that it's really all internal. Because for such a long time, my memory, this core memory of my history, my life story, was that this person broke me or shattered me. But the reality of the matter was, it was life culminating in this big wave, and at the moment I just was drowning in it. I wasn't able to swim to the top. I wasn't able to float. And I guess for all this time I've been swimming around trying to just reach the surface. And now that I have, it feels like I've been able to breathe, because this weight's been lifted off my chest. So that's the story. That's the conversation. If that resonated, hit follow for more of the sort. And remember, we don't give up. Not in this house.